Alright guys, welcome to another G Auto Repair YouTube video. And today I'm working on a Nissan Juke. I don't remember what year it is. I think it's 11 or 13, something like that. 2011, 2013 if I remember correctly off the top of my head. But the concern here is a lot of smoke coming out the tailpipe, and the car was running like crap. It wouldn't even turn on. And spoiler alert, I kind of already checked this beforehand. I actually did this was actually a mobile diagnostics that I did several weeks back, and I went to her location. I checked it out, and I determined that one, it definitely needed spark plugs, which she has already done that on her own. And the source of the smoke is that it's burning oil. And the reason it's burning oil is because this is a turbo engine, and all I've done is just remove the intake here from the air filter and a couple hoses here. Here's one that goes to the intake like so. That's all I've really done. And all I wanted to do was to check the impeller and the turbine there of the whatever you call it from the turbo. And you may not be able to see this because it's all the way in the back and it's kind of dark back there, but if you reach in there, you can, I don't know if you guys can hear that, but there's excessive play on the bearing here of the turbo. So what I did last time while I was at her location is I removed this pipe here, and you can see all the oil is pooled in the bottom of the scoop down there, and all of this ductwork is just completely flooded with oil. There's oil all up in here. So pretty much she said that the car started making a noise. She took it to get an oil change. They said they're not going to touch it because it has no oil. They topped it off and sent her on her way. But what she explained to me is that this turbo has already been replaced. It was replaced a few months ago, allegedly, because she was having issues with it. So she had another technician look at it nearby, and she had that replaced already. But obviously it has failed for whatever reason. So assuming that it has been replaced, well, something caused it to fail within a very short period of time. So we got to see if they changed the oil lines. Is there clogging? Is it getting lubrication to it? That part I'm not sure, but we definitely need a new turbo because it's leaking, and it's as you probably can't see, but might be able to see there, but hey, there's play, and you can see the bottom, there's oil right here. There's oil in the bottom of that turbo there. So this thing is definitely leaking oil past the seals there, the bearing, and it's causing it to get into the intake and burning it off. So that's gonna be our main issue. I'm probably gonna try to turn it on and just observe it, and watch the oil kind of just, probably gonna remove this pipe, and then I'm gonna order parts and whatnot. And it's probably gonna take me a few days to do that while parts get here. And I'm also gonna be out the game for a day or two, and I'm finally getting these doohickeys eliminated. I'm having LASIK surgery, so I'm excited about that. And I'll be out the game for about a day or two. So let me go ahead and remove some of this stuff so we can get a better view. And then once we get a better view, I'm just gonna shut it down for the day. And when I get all the parts and everything, I'll get back with you guys so you guys can see the difference and what we're looking at. All right, just sit on tight. All right, so what I did was I cleaned all the oil that was down in the hole, all the way in the bottom, that was a pool of oil down there. So I dried it up as much as possible. As you can see here, all this oil came from in there, that little spot there. So let me see if I can turn this on without making too much ruckus, and see if I see oil and stuff spewing out of there. The battery had to jump it off, so hopefully it's not too dead. Okay, maybe not. This car's a mess. All right, I'm gonna have to put the charger on there and jump it off again. So give me a few minutes. I'll be right back. All right. So I have the engine running, as you can see. Oil's coming right back out. The turbo is not spinning or anything, but the oil is quickly filling the bottom of that that turbo there. It was empty, and as soon as I turned it on, so definitely the turbo's leaking. So I'll go ahead and order parts, and then when it's time to make some magic, I'll get back with you guys, but it'll probably be a couple days before then. So just sit on tight, and thanks for watching, and I'll be back here in a couple days. All right, guys, so it's the next day, and I just wanted to do a quick test here. I want to see if I'm getting a good amount of oil coming out of this line to the turbo, just to make sure we don't have a repeat failure. So I'm gonna ask my son to turn on the car so we can observe it. All right, go ahead and turn it on and be ready to turn it off immediately.
All right, let me know.
Go for it. All right. Turn it off. Okay, so we're getting oil. I don't know if it's enough, but we're definitely getting oil. Okay, so let me get a little bit more information on this and see if this is gonna be enough, but it's definitely getting oil to it. So I'll that's all I really wanted to see for right now. At least I know it's getting oil. I just need to see if this is enough oil, so we won't have an issue. So I'm gonna go ahead and order everything, and we'll get back with you when I have all the parts. All right, my peeps, so I got kind of encouraged, and I decided to take the turbo out today, and I had enough time where I could deal with it, so I decided to at least take it out while the part get here. So it definitely not for the faint of heart. It is a little tricky to get out, but as you can see, that turbo is destroyed. And again, allegedly they replaced this, according to her, a few months ago. according to the mechanic, it was about a year ago. So I don't know, you guys tell me what you think. This looks all jacked up. That wastegate is sealed shut with all the gunk and stuff from burning all the oil. These lines are reusable. The new turbo comes with all the washers and stuff to put it in there. Let me flip this here. As you can see here, you can see the play here. You can see where it's been boogering up. Oh, you can see I didn't even see this earlier. That's broken right there. I didn't see that earlier, but you can tell that it's been rubbing on the walls of the turbo casing there. So definitely a bad turbo. Again, there's a, let me get out, I'm gonna wipe here. Ugh. Here we go. Get the light off of it. In fact, I'm gonna turn off the light. Here's the model line. It looked like they changed it, but then at the same time it looks like they didn't change it. Maybe they just changed half, I don't know. Because these bolts here on the exhaust were a pain in the pecker to get out. They were really, really tough. So maybe they ran into that snag there and they said, you know what, forget it. Maybe they just separate it here, change this part, and reuse all the old stuff. That's what I'm suspecting. I don't know. But as you can see, this thing has been burning oil for a little bit, so nowadays you don't know who to believe. So I did had to loosen up the catalytic converter. I was trying to get away from not doing it, but there's no way that I can get to these two bolts from the bottom without moving the catalytic converter, because it's kind of in the way and it's at a really steep angle, so you really can't get to it. I took off the return oil hose here, removed the oil, not the oil, but the coolant lines that cools the bearing and whatnot there. And once I loosened this, I was able to get swivel sockets, 14mm swivel sockets, to get to that. I did also have to take the heat shield. I'm not sure if it's just a shield or a heat shield, but this kind of goes over that CV joint right there to remove this bracket that holds the catalytic converter in place. There is another one over there where the flange is. There's another bracket there with 16mm bolts. These are 16mm bolts to get to it. And what else did I have to do? Obviously remove this wheel so I can get out, get those nuts off. Again, this is not really a how-to video, but it's just to share with you guys my adventures here at G Auto Repair and the crap I have to deal with sometimes as a technician. Most of you who are professional technicians understand. Now you don't know who's telling the truth, the customer or the technician guy, because let's face it, there's a lot of, I don't even want to call them technicians, backyard mechanics, shade tree mechanics, whatever you want to use, that give the rest of us a bad name. So I don't even think that they deserve that title of technician. That's who she took it to, and he said he replaced it. He says about a year ago, or about a year ago. She says she drove it for a month, and then she had to park it for about 4 or 5 months. So I don't know if this kind of damage could be caused in about a month of driving. However, the oil change sticker on her windshield was set for 3,000 miles, and she was almost at the 3,000 miles. So I don't think you can drive 3,000 miles in 1 month. So I think somewhere in between lies the truth, as usual. But my investigating days are over. I just fix cars now, so. And the problem here is that the turbo is bad. So when I get the new turbo, I'll sign back on with you guys and continue filming. All right, ladies and gentlemen, the new turbo is in. I got it right here. It's a I don't know if I pronounce this right, but it's a Molly or Mall, whatever, however you want to pronounce it, turbocharger. And I did tear this one apart, which I was kind of wondering if it's possible where you can just change half of it and leave the other half, and it looks like it's possible. You just got to get this clamp off and then the two halves separate, and this is what I found inside. This was completely separated from the shaft. So this looks like it's new, this doesn't. So what I'm suspecting to happen is that the guy who did this repair simply just took off the halves, replaced half, and then left the other half in there, and that's why this looks in such a bad condition. That wastegate there it's sealed shut. I can't open it with my hands. I mean, it's that hard. I really can't. This one I can. Obviously, it seems like there's a spring here that keeps it shut, so it's difficult, it's hard, but I can open it if I force it, and it's hard. It's really hard to do with one hand, so you're probably not gonna. Well, let me see if I can just kind of put this in like this, and you may be able to see it. There it is. Let me prop something here on the camera so that it won't fall over, which is not really working. There we go. But if I force it there, let's see, position it, you can see how it opens. And I can definitely not do that with this one, even though it's disconnected completely. It is just that caked up in there, and this is like a really sticky tar like residue, and it has caked everything in the exhaust. So I wouldn't be surprised if this has catalytic converter codes that will come up, because it's just that bad. The amount of oil that this car was burning was just humongous. So I'm not gonna install it today. As the date of this recording, it is, or this section, it's a Sunday, so I normally don't work on Sunday, so I'm gonna take care of this tomorrow. I'm gonna start installing it. And if you're wondering, my LASIK surgery was a success as far as I'm concerned. I can see very well now, and these will be my safety goggles from here on out, hopefully. Quite a change from what I normally wear, so I'm thankful for that. And hopefully I won't have to deal with any more eye situations, at least for a while. You know, as you get older, you start needing readers, so I hope that that's not the case, but in this life anything's possible. The new turbocharger, let me put this aside here, did come with a gasket kit. It's got all the, it says original equipment quality, so it comes with all these little things that I can hang up there so the customer can see that it has been replaced, which I'm planning on doing. The new gasket kit comes with all new gaskets, everything needed for the job, at least as far as I can see. I don't want to make too much of a mess here or lose anything. These little washers, you got this gasket that goes on this end over here some way. Let's see what else comes in the kit. You get 4 of these. You get this one that I believe goes where? here? No. This goes on the bottom on the base. This goes back here. Where did this one go? I'm having a brain fart right now. I'm sure it goes somewhere. This one goes on the bottom where the oil cooler, or the oil drain, I should say, connects to. There's a syringe here, I guess, to pre-lube up the bearing before installation. Or well, after you install it, you just squirt some oil in there. Make sure it gets at least a little bit of lube. Let me see. Let's see a little bit. This O-ring, I'm not too sure where this O-ring goes. Probably to the oil drain where it attaches in the bottom somewhere, but I didn't disconnect that, but it looks like maybe that might go down there somewhere. Still trying to figure this one out. Seems like it would go here, but it seems too small. Yeah, it seems too small. So that's weird. It's gotta go there, but for some reason it seems way too small to go there. So either they accidentally put the wrong gasket, or maybe they have it for different applications. I'm not sure. This seems to fit perfectly. Probably goes like this or something to that effect. It's multi layers. So this seems to square up pretty nicely. I'm sure this will as well. This, I'm sure it will as well. But this one, for some reason, does not. So I hope that I can still find the old one, which I'm sure is over there somewhere. I may have to reuse the old gasket for that one. Yeah, because this definitely doesn't fit. I don't know what that's about, but that's all that came in the box. Here's the box. Yeah, this is weird here. I don't know. Somebody must have put the wrong gasket or something in while they were putting all the packaging in. I don't know. Nowadays anything's possible. But as you can see, it looks all new, shiny, pretty. Oh wait, goes here. Retard. There we go. Retard. There we go. All right, but there is, I believe, a gasket that goes there. So, and it didn't come with it. So, what is up with that? I'm not sure. That's where this goes. Things happen. We have brain farts. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. So as you can see, this is completely destroyed and useless. These tubes I will have to reuse. This is the oil drain. This is the one of the coolant hoses. Here's the other one that goes here, right here. So I'll have to remove these and install them on the new one with the new gaskets here, the little copper gaskets, and this will be ready to be installed on the vehicle and everything put back together. So hopefully I won't run into any surprises or anything of that sort. So tomorrow when I get it on the car, I will go ahead and update you guys on how it goes and what I had to do. So far everything looks good. Everything looks pretty good. I was trying to see something here, but I don't know. a number there. Wonder if I can research some of these numbers and see if it's an original Nissan part. I'm not sure. I'm not 100% sure. Because this one doesn't have that at all. At all. I did do a little research and I asked around my buddy that works at the Nissan, and I showed him a video of that oil flow, and he said that is enough to keep the bearing lubricated. He just told me exactly what I already knew anyways, and said make sure you change the oil because it looks really thick and nasty. So I already knew that, so I had already quoted an oil change as well. So I won't drag this section out any longer. Thanks for hanging in there, and we'll catch you guys tomorrow when this is ready to get put back together. Alright guys, so we're back and the new turbo is in. It's not completely connected, but it is in. The exhaust has been, the catalytic converter has been bolted on. It's not completely bolted in on the bottom, but it's preset, ready to just tighten all the bolts on the bottom. I ran into a little snag with the bolts that secure the turbo to the exhaust. The studs came out together with the nuts. I got it inside the shop or whatnot. And when I went to go put the turbo back in, it was very difficult because of the angle and fighting against the catalytic converter here. The two that go on the bottom, that go from the bottom up, there's two studs with two nuts, and that really gave me a run for my money. And I was scared. I started kind of stripping the threads on the new turbo, so I got scared. So I just called the customer back and said, hey, forget about this, we're gonna get new bolts and new studs and nuts and whatnot and get it over with. So that's a little tip there for you guys. If you go to do this job, don't waste your time, just go ahead and get new studs and nuts from the dealer. That's what I had to do. Here's the part numbers. I don't know if you guys can see that. I don't remember if this is the nut or the studs, but it's one or the other. Here are the part numbers for those. I was able to reuse, give you a second to take a look at that. I was able to reuse these, and these two right here, the ones that gave me the issue were the ones in the back, the studs that go on the bottom. So I just went ahead and put two new studs and nut and called it a day. These didn't give me issues, but those back there did, because they were so seized to the stud that it pulled the stud out. And then to put the stud while you're trying to mount this, it's a bit of a challenge. So I didn't want to risk damaging any threads or anything, so I said forget about it. I'm gonna go ahead and put new studs. So a little tip for you guys. I also did drain the intercooler. And all this oil that you see here came from it. Now technically, ideally, I don't think there's quite a quart there, but it is a good amount of oil that was in there. Ideally, you may want to pull it out and properly drain it. All I did was I just disconnected the bottom hose and let it just drain out, and all that came out. So I'm sure there's still a little bit in there. I'm thinking about maybe before I put everything back in service, disconnect one of these hoses, let the turbo kind of try to push it out as much as possible to prevent it from burning oil. The spark plugs are new. I don't want to foul them out quickly, but it may just be a nature of the beast. But again, if this, ideally, you probably should pull the intercooler out and drain it that way to be sure. But she's kind of strapped for cash, so she didn't want to go through all that hassle, so I just pulled out the hose and let it drain out. Another little tip for you guys, if you do have a bearing failure where it's letting oil go through the intake, you will have to drain that intercooler because it's going to be loaded with oil. Let me see anything else that I'm thinking. Like I said, I just still got to put some brackets and stuff here for the exhaust and the shield, things of that nature. But all in all, everything is going back together nicely. I just hit that one little snag, had to wait an extra day just to get those that hardware. Also, the kit came with this syringe, I guess, to pre-lube the turbo. So what I did was I just squirted the oil in there, and then it'll slowly kind of work its way down slowly so that the turbo won't start dry. So just a little bit of oil, squirt it in there. They give you, at least the kit that I bought came with this, so you just top that off and call it a day. Now I will say that the kit came with these new washers. I was able to put the two on the cooling line for the coolant, but this one for the oil, it's too, I guess it's not big enough, so it's kind of difficult to slide it over the thing without deforming it, and I don't even think it's possible. It may be, I don't know if you fight with it, so I'm not gonna fight with it too much, and I just put the original one on. Hopefully I won't have any issues. What I'm gonna do is probably not fully secure all the heat shields and stuff, just in case I do have an issue. Then I can just easily take it apart and replace it. But hopefully that won't happen. Hopefully that won't happen. So, but just another little tip for you, that these aren't the same profile. So this piece is thick, and I don't think they did this the way they should have, so it's hard to slide over and get it to line up properly. I did get these down here, but for some reason these weren't working out too well, so I just said forget about it. I'll reuse the old one. If I'm fortunate enough, I won't have any issues. So I just transferred these studs over, and I got a new gasket for this. I'm going to have to reuse the gasket for this, which is over here somewhere. I saw it earlier in this mess. Here it is right here. Because the new kit didn't come with one. That's another thing. Well, what's up with that? You know, these turbos aren't cheap. They should have just, you know, put all the gaskets, which they did for the most part, but these copper ones didn't seem to want to fit properly, and then they didn't put one for the front here. So I don't know what that's about. I don't know if it was an oversight on their part, but things happen. So that's it for now. Just wanted to share a few tips for you guys. I did remove the cowl. I don't know if I talked about that earlier. It's been a crazy 3 or 4 days, so I don't remember what I talked about half the time. But as you can see here, there's no more play, so I'm happy about that. There's no more play here. What else? Oh, I dropped this cover down here. That's garbage. I had to replace those studs. So everything else coming along nicely. So I'll come back on here when I get further into it and give you guys another update. And if any more tips that I find, I'll share them with you. All right, guys. So here she is, running. Everything is back together as it should be. Brand new turbo, looking pretty back there. Fresh oil change, new filter, new air filter. The battery looks like it's seen better days, but my part is complete. I did drive it around for a little bit to clear out any residual oil that may be in the intake manifold and things of that matter, which there was. I mean, it did smoke for a good amount after I finished it, but the car is running. Here it is, no smoke at all for right now. There may still be a little bit under certain accelerations and stuff, but let me see if I can. Saw a little bit of a black smoke there. I do have the check engine light, which I am not surprised about that. I did expect that because of the condition of the amount of oil that it was burning. The code is a O2 sensor code and a catalytic converter code, so I am not surprised at all about that, because all that exhaust is all gunked up. If you remember how the exhaust side of the turbo looked like, I'm sure the rest of the exhaust, the catalytic converter, is the same. It's probably somewhat clogged up and not working very well. One more tip, I don't know if I mentioned it earlier. I do remember mentioning when I went to remove the O2 sensor, it's got that little heat shield around it, or whatever you want to call that. And the O2 sensor socket that I had wouldn't fit in there. I had to hammer it in there to get deep in there to get to the nut so I can loosen it. So you may have that situation if you're using maybe a cheaper tool like the one I was using, which was from like Harbor Freight. In that case, just grind around the tool, and it should slide right in there. It's just that the walls of the tool are too thick and it doesn't let you reach in there and get to the nut portion of the sensor. So if that happens to you, don't freak out. Just go ahead and grind off a mil or two off around that's just that section. You don't have to grind the whole socket or whatever tool you're using, just around that edge to where it will go in there and grab hold of the nut. So that's another tech tip that I want to share with you guys, a situation that I ran into when I went to remove that. And if you don't remove that sensor, you can't remove that shield, because that little circular shield around the sensor kind of doesn't lock it, but it keeps the shield, the catalytic converter shield, from coming off completely. And if you can't do that, obviously you can't get to the bolts that bolt onto the turbo. So there you have it, guys. It's finally done. I had to wait for parts and things of that nature and other personal situations, but it is complete. I'm gonna call the customer, have her pick it up. I'm gonna tell her to check the oil level every week until we get some confidence in the car. And I'm not gonna wait the 3,000 or 5,000 miles for an oil change. I want to do it really soon, just to flush out any contaminants and things of that nature as soon as possible. So I'm gonna share that with her as well. Again, guys, thanks for hanging in there. Please like and subscribe if you're not already subscribed to the channel. Please do so. We appreciate all of your support, and I'll catch you on the next video. Ciao.